Which is, the religious one is like, oh, there's an eschaton, there's an afterlife, there's a bigger picture, you cannot compete with that.
I think one of my stories would be, there is something as like to be moral, to be good. There are good actions and bad actions. I want to do good actions and consider myself moral. Fine. So that transcends, that is my driving thing. So I'm just trying to push back against the idea that you need to inject, only religion can give you these.
I didn't say only, no. Certainly that's not my point. I'm saying any metaphysic which is transcendental has the potential to do that. But I feel like religion is particularly effective. Why? Because religion gives you a promise of an eschaton, of an afterlife. But seriously, like, if you let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If you actually, it's conditional. If you actually believed, like with the way that you believe that I'm speaking to you right now, that you exist, that if you die, that there's going to be heaven and hell, that they exist, that there is such a number. If I know you don't believe it, I'm not in. But just put yourself, put yourself in my position for a second. If you actually believe that there will be an everlasting gardens and this and that, and you believe in all that stuff. You believe in the honey and the perfect. You believe in all of it as well, or something. Virgins, all of these things, all of the things you like, and I like, and every man likes, except for the homosexuals. Homosexuals might not like virgin women, right?
No, probably not.
But what I'm saying is, if you actually believed that all of these things, my question is, would this act as an incentive for you or not?
If I actually believed it, I would be like, well, actually, it's difficult to say because I'm not very like goal oriented. But obviously, you're saying like this is the greatest reward you could ever get. So would you walk towards the greatest reward? Yeah, probably. But whatever. But this is
how motivated. But do you know how brave that would make you? Like, I'm telling you, this is the real. Forget about red pill and blue pill. I'm saying it's the magic pill right now because, genuinely, I'll be honest with you, Like right now, if you knew that if you were walking the street, get attacked and knife and this and that, if I was an atheist, if a secularist, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. If I was walking around here right now, and I saw somebody getting stabbed or something, or getting beaten up, and I think to myself, if I get there, I could get beaten up as well. If I see a woman getting raped, stranger rape, which is highest here, according to the WHO report, highest in the Western world.
Where, in UK, in London?
No, in the Western world, in general.
Where?
In the Western world. That's what they said.
It's highest happening in the Western
stranger rate, according. What I'm saying is, imagine if I'm walking and I'm seeing that, If I'm an atheist, egoist, because that's what we fundamentally are, psychologically, I would think to myself, why am I going to put myself in danger for this other woman? I don't know her. I am going to think that. But as a Muslim, what I'm thinking to myself is this. I'm thinking, wait a minute, if I go and save this woman, no, I'm being serious.
That's not the way your mind works.
No, wallahi, it does work like that. No, it does. I know, but what I'm saying is, this is how a person should think,
This is how you like.
I think, okay, but if I get involved in this thing, I try and stop this, and I get stabbed and killed. But then the Prophet ﷺ, he said that man qutila duna nafsihi fahuwa shahid. Whoever was killed trying to defend his life is a martyr.
You're resurrected, don't you?
All that. No, but if you actually believe in that, imagine that now. Imagine I actually believe in that. So if I believe in it,
don't they talk about the noble lie? Don't they? He talks about that. Isn't it just like that?
No, it's not, because we are talking about something which we believe is not a lie, right? So that's the difference.
Yeah, but the noble lie is just tell a lie to someone, it makes them do good stuff.
But we'd have to establish whether it's a lie or not, and that's a different discussion. I'm just talking about a psychological thing. We don't want to go into different discussions here. I'm saying that on a psychological front, that would make me more brave. Because I feel like, okay, I'll put my life on the line. I'll do it. No problem.
If you give someone like a tremendous thing like that, doesn't it just also cause fanaticism?
It can do. It can do. That's why.
Single-mindedly.
Of course, there's fanatics. So
that's
what I'm saying.
Not the best.
Maybe
the best is like a cold dispossessed. We'll weigh it all up and see. Maybe we can work out what's good and bad.
Right. I understand that there's a problem with fanaticism. I'm not denying that. And they use the same bravery as the ones that are doing noble things with it, right?
But we're just weighing up.
Agreed. But when we're saying that if people truly embodied the Islamic spirit, if they truly embodied, which is not, I would argue, is not the fanatic interpretation. That's my interpretation. I think that's a false interpretation. If they truly embodied the Islamic spirit, and ask yourself a question, what we're seeing here in terms of diffusion of responsibility, we are seeing something in psychology refers to as diffusion of responsibility. Someone gets beaten up, everyone just pulling out their phone and checking that. If you go to, honestly, go to any African country of your choosing. Any of your choosing, yeah? Okay, yeah? Go to any country which is so-called low LEDC, yeah? That's unthinkable thing. Like, people are fighting in the street and you just like, no. They get involved and try and stop it and stuff, but people don't do that. That's why you have 50,000 people, according to the what do you call it? Met Police. Yeah? Not Met Police, the official government statistics. 50,000 people a year being stabbed in the UK. 50,000. 50,000. Do you know why people are getting stabbed like that? Because the police are cowards. They do tactical retreat. They're scared to engage with the knife fighters. And also the public are cowardly. If they were living in a country where actually bring out a knife and the whole community will come out against you and deal with you because there's a communitarian spirit, we wouldn't find there are levels of knife crime in the UK being that level. Compare, once again, this might be a big claim, but I'm making it, yeah? Compare the levels of knife crime in the UK with any Middle Eastern country of your choosing, including Syria. Including Syria. I promise you, there is more knife crime in London than there is in Syria. I promise you. The war zones, even in the war zones, there's more than that. I promise you there is.
Even during ISIS?
No, not during the actual, like, whatever, but because there's gun crime there anyway. But no, I promise you, go to anywhere you like, the knife crime we're finding in the UK it beats almost any country in the world. It's up there. Why are people? Because they don't have regard for human life. People are cowardly to get involved. The police are cowards. The community is a coward because they have this egoistic individualism. That's the reason why people are cowardly like that. You go to Nigeria, there's knife crime there, but it's not on the level. Ghana, it's not on the level. Sorry to say, go to any African country of your choosing, it is not on the level of the UK. And there's a reason for that.
So you're saying because these Middle Eastern countries have this religious meta story that doesn't make them egotistic, or it makes them more community.
No, I'm saying yeah.
I think the thing is, knife crime isn't the only way.
Sorry, you wanted to say something?
I think in other countries there are other ways to kill people besides stabbing.
Yeah.
So I guess you have shootings.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying to you, it's not on the level. I'm telling you, even that, it's not on the level. Like, for example, go to anywhere in Latin America, compare it with anywhere in the Middle East. Okay, let me ask you a question. What is more likely to be a dangerous place for you to go? Anywhere in the Middle East. Let's exclude the war zones. Let's exclude them. Yemen and Syria, let's exclude them, and occupied Palestine. Let's exclude those three places, yeah? And Libya, which is like 4 of... But war zones are war zones, isn't it? Okay, anywhere in the Middle East you like. Where I'm from, Egypt, yeah? Compare Egypt with Mexico. Which is more safe place to go? If you walk in the street and anywhere in Mexico City, what is more safe for you to walk in the street there or in Egypt, in Cairo?
Well, it's a good question.
Well, they're both two different countries. I mean, Egypt has stricter laws, whilst Mexico's kind of dangerous for a different reason.
I understand, but I promise you would not be saying that if you went to both countries, because it's a good comparison. Mexico City versus Cairo.
That's a good question.
All right, Mexico City got 20 million people, yeah? Cairo's got 20 million people, same number, yeah? In fact, in the ranking, it's like 5 and 6. Like the 6th most populated city in the world is Cairo. That's double the population of London, by the way. Cairo's got double the population of London, yeah?
Okay.
I'm just giving you an understanding. Yeah. Now, if you go Cairo, with all of its problems, there are lots of problems. I'm not saying nothing. But what I'm saying is compare Cairo with Mexico City. In terms of knife violence and gun violence, there is no comparison whatsoever. I promise you there's no comparison.
I mean...
Compare Cairo with London, there's no comparison.
I mean...
Even though I'm telling you by head of people getting stabbed or shot or killed.
You're saying safety.
Thing is,
anything that can cause harm.
Why is it not happening like that?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
You get it?
It's a good question. I'd have to look at it.
The reason you got to look at individualism as an ideology. So the idea that you have family, you have community, that does actually have a part to play here. And I feel like
You're saying they don't have family and community in Mexico then?
No. In Mexico, it's more of an individual. It's a liberal culture now. It's a liberal culture.
Mexico's more dangerous because of drug trafficking.
Yeah, exactly. Drug trafficking.
Nothing to do with religion.
It does, because drugs are not allowed in the religion of Islam.
Well, they're not in Christianity.
I don't know what the conversation is.
I understand, but what we're saying is that they're not acting on a Christian impetus. They are acting. First of all, Christianity doesn't have any strict rules against drugs like Islam does. Yeah. Secondly, in Latin America, they've absorbed Western liberalism. So what I'm saying is that the individualistic liberal flair, look at Chicago. Look at Chicago. Like Chicago.
But what if you do the opposite thing? Where is the safest place in the world, and is it a liberal democracy?
Where is it? Tell me, where's the safest place?
I'm saying, if you look at the whole world,
how about this? How about a place like Norway? That's clearly an atheistic country.
I don't know what this. I think it's the crime stats are quite high there as well. You'll be surprised. Yeah. First of all, Norway is 6 million or 7 million people. Yeah. So they've got a sparse population. The population of Norway is spread out.
What about somewhere like Japan?
What about Japan?
Maybe walking along the streets of Japan is the safest place.
No, but okay. In terms of safety, I feel like they do have a collectivist spirit, in Japan. However, I remember watching a documentary some years ago called Megacities. It was put by Andrew Ma. Yeah, he actually went to Tokyo. Do you remember this? Yeah, he went to Tokyo, and then he went to Dhaka. He went to many different megacities. He went to Cairo as well, in fact, yeah? The cities that are like of a certain population. When he went to Tokyo, it's number one in terms of, it's 37 million people, yeah?
Big.
37.5 million according to the last stats. Now, if we're saying that Tokyo, when he went there, and he saw how people were living, where now you have a different kind of issue, loneliness. People are renting friends.
But you're changing the topic, aren't you?
No, I got you.
We're evaluating it on a certain scale.
But people are
No. In terms of Japan, my argument would be that the culture is not fully liberal. That they're incentivized by different kinds of culture there, because they have. We talk about liberal countries, yeah. The culture in Japan is not fully liberal. Then I would say, actually, look at the crime stats in Japan. Look at them. I haven't looked at them. Let's look at them. And then number two, they have different kinds of facilities as well. Because if you talk about 37.5 million people in one city, and then most people live in skyscrapers and individual flats, and they don't have the same potential to create ghettos and stuff like that. So there are lots of considerations that one can make. But once again, I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked at the crime stats in Japan. And nor have I gone to that culture or that people. But I do think they have a communitarian spirit there. Which is why they have things like, have you lived in Japan as well? So maybe you can tell us. What do you think? What's the crime like there?
It's very low.
Is it low?
Petty crime is very
Why
low.
do you think the reason is?
Organized crime is very high.
Is it?
Organized crime. Petty crime, and you can leave like your...
No, what about stabbings and killings and stuff?
No.
Is it low?
I've left my MacBook like in a cafe for hours and come back.
And why do you think that is then? What's your reasoning behind it?
Well, I think what you mentioned earlier is quite interesting, because there is a collectivist culture. So if one person does one thing against the stream of the sort of community consciousness, they get extremely ostracized.
Yeah, so do you think that, okay, so he's confirmed what I was already thinking, and that's why they have a strong culture of suicide and stuff like that, if you've shamed the family. I remember reading a story of a man who left his family, because he was in a house, and he left in Japan, in Tokyo. He left his house because he could no longer provide for them. He thought he was useless, so he said, I'm leaving.
That happens.
Yeah, so the point is that there's a strong sense of honor, collective community honor there in Japan. I'm not saying Islam is the only solution, by the way. My thesis is as follows, is that when you have a strong individualism, okay, and you compare it to more collectivistic cultures, then the individualistic cultures are more likely to be high in crime than the collectivistic ones. That's my idea. Because if you go to a Christian community in Africa, that's why I said any country in Africa. If you go to a country which is majority Christian in Africa, but they are all, have a strong community or tribal allegiance, then it will be the tribal fathers that will come in and so on. Or chief masters, or whatever you call it.
Do you believe that Islam is something that is applicable to any country and any culture at any time? In other words, is it something that's eternal?
Yeah.
And your justification for that?
Yeah, I believe in that. I mean, that's what the religion of Islam claims to be. But then that doesn't mean that it's rigid. It doesn't mean that it doesn't take into consideration the socio-economic or political factors. Because there is an inbuilt flexibility in the religion of Islam, such that you can have culture of, for example, if Japan became a Muslim country, like maybe Malaysia is a good example because it's the closest to it. Malaysia wasn't a Muslim country, Indonesia wasn't a Muslim country, then became. But if you compare Malaysia and Indonesia to Egypt, once again, you're going to find many things in the former that you didn't find in the latter, because they have a different kind of temperament, a collective temperament, they have a different culture, and so on. So I'm not saying that Islam is going to come in and engulf everything. It comes in, yes,
so
and
just pick what fits. Pick
no,
change it about a little bit and just apply.
it comes in and gives principles of how to live one's life. Overriding principles. God is the Most High. These are the laws. You know, this is how you should be with your family. This is how you should be with your community. Okay, but then you as a culture, as a people, bring in your own flavor of that. So, you know, in Malaysia, it's not going to be the same as Nigeria.
And your justification for that, do you believe that like human beings are also in that sense, you know, something that is, you can apply to them like the book of the Quran. The book of the Quran would be in your case.
Yeah.
But you can apply that to human nature, because also human nature is not something that is changing. It's something that you can explain from within like the context of religion.
So what did you say that again, sorry?
So I'm saying, you believe that human nature is not something that like changes over time either. It's something that is fixed.
Human nature is another topic. So let me answer the question. I feel like Islam has 2 or 3 things that are important and have a cross section with the psychological literature. Yeah. First of all, the idea of fitrah, which is that everyone is born with the predisposition to believe in God. All right. But there's another thing as well, which is that the Quran states that وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, and by the self and he who created it. So he inspired it by giving it propensity to do good and propensity to transgress. So the human being has propensity to do good or bad. Okay? Both of that is an integral part of the human project. God has put that in both of us. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا, the Quran continues, the one who has purified himself has succeeded. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا, and the one who corrupts himself is a failure. So you have the potential as a human being to be either or. Okay? So why they say there's a cross section of like the psychological literature is that in psychoanalytic theories you'll find that, you know, the psyche and the dark side of the psyche and all these kind of things is there. You know, the unconscious mind, we believe in all of that. In fact, where Freud wrote a book on dreams and experimented with like the idea of the unconscious, where dreams come from, we also believe that dreams can be of the unconscious mind. That was something that was said 1,400 years ago. Al-aql al-batin or takhabbat al-aql, so it's the same thing was there. So when you find that the unconscious mind is composed of these different things, the potential to do good, the potential to do bad, some that can surface into the conscious reality and sometimes it's not. But yeah, that's where there's a cross section, I would say, between the psychological literature and the Islamic understanding of, you know, for example, human psychology.
Because, you know, often it's not just against Islam, but against any sort of religion, or any, let's say, dogmatic religion, let's say in that sense. The common argument is that it can't really be applied to human beings because human beings are essentially an ongoing phenomenon, right? They're like a future-orientated, and, you know, they change all the time. And you talked about the fitrah, but, you know, the opposite side would be the sort of like existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre and his ilk, who would say, actually, we're born without a blueprint, right? We are who we make ourselves to be, how we live our lives out.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Sartre said that or not. I haven't read that.
I think he did, yeah.
But I can remember Descartes said the exact opposite. He said we're all born with the autograph of God. And so the idea that when you're born, like, because he got that from, you know, when he went through the meditations and he went through all this cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. He said that's the highest level, it's the thing that was, but he said that is, we're born with the autograph of God. I think therefore God is as well. You know, and so the idea that we're born with that, I think is a fixed part of the human psyche. That is a fixed thing. But the other things are there as well, and it's for the human being to choose, basically. And we believe it's a voluntary agent. Human being is a volitional agent.
Oh, you do believe that?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't believe it that the human being's action is determined?
We believe in compatibilism.
Okay. Okay. I was under the impression that, because it's a debate, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah.
Compatibilism, determinism.
No, we believe in compatibilism.
Actually, do you mind me asking you about that?
Yeah, of course.
Because I am struggling with this concept that, you know, God is sovereign, right? So He knows what's going to happen in the future, right? So he has complete sovereignty over humankind, but at the same time he's giving them free will. So it seems like from the outset that there's a contradiction here, because how can you really have free will if God has sort of written out exactly what you're going to do? And I've been studying this Catholic monk called Spanish monk in the Middle Ages, and something Molinism, yeah. And
William Lane Craig is doing something on that.
Yeah, he had an interesting idea that he said God has
the wood knowledge, middle knowledge, yeah.
Middle knowledge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what would be a good way of explaining the Islamic argument for that? Because it's a struggle to think, well, I'm free, but actually God has written it out.
I should start off by saying, quite frankly, that just as Christianity has divided on the issue, so has Islam. All right. If we're being completely honest on it, right? I take the compatibilist position, but there were more positions that are closer to crass determinism, and there were more positions that are closer to libertarian free will within the Islamic idea. Just like in secularism, there are all three views. Same thing with Islam, same thing with Christianity. You have Arminianism, you have Calvinism, and then you have Molinism, as you've mentioned, right, with Molina, and which William Lane Craig is defending the position of academically right now. The wood knowledge or the middle knowledge is actually, I was looking myself to find if there's any, are you going to go?
I'm head off.
All right,
it's nice
meeting you. You too, my friend. Yeah, see you later. Yeah? Thank you. Yeah, let's take a picture. Well, you've got it all there, so you know you can. Let's take a picture. Come.
Wait. Selfie. Take it for you.
All right. Do you want him to take it for you?
Yes, please.
Yeah. We'll talk about middle knowledge in a second. Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. See you later, brother. So middle knowledge, actually, there's a view which is commensurate with it in the Islamic paradigm, and it took me a long time to find it. But there's a guy called Najmuddin al-Tufi which had the same, pretty much same view. But he said that God, not the same view, he had a slightly different view, which is that God holds you to account based on what knowledge you would have done if you were free. If you were independent, okay, then God holds you to account based on that knowledge. Okay? Now, that's, for me, it's a problematic view. Because on logical grounds and also on textual grounds, but I'm just letting you know that there is a kind of similar view in the Islamic view. The main opinion, the compatibilist opinion, is that there is an intersection, there is a symbiosis, there is some kind of compatibilism between godly determinism and human free will. Human being, from one perspective, is completely volitional, but from another perspective is totally dependent. He's dependent existentially. That without God, human being would not exist. Just like without the sun, this tree would not exist in front of us. But God has also allowed the human being to make decisions on his own behalf which don't interfere with his own sovereignty. How that takes place, the mechanisms of that, I don't know. And in fact, I believe they're unknowable. Because the Sunni position, the Sunni Islamic position is that anything relating to God's attributes is fundamentally, the howness, the mechanics of it are fundamentally unknowable. So if I would, yeah.
Is that the same for the Sufi and the Shia as well?
Sufis are, like, for example, when we say Sufis, it's not really a creedal school of thought. Right. It's referring to, like, you know, so most Sufis are Sunni, or at least they would claim to be, right? They would say I am Sunni. If you meet any Sufi, I have, you know, they would usually say I'm Sunni.